Hey, what's up guys, Totallydubbed here, and today I'm doing a video review for the MSI DC111. So this is a small HTPC that can be put anywhere in the house. Realistically, you're going to put it near your TV. And I was sent this for review, for a trial review, so I had it for about 2 weeks, and I was playing with it pretty much throughout the 2 weeks from MSI directly. So first of all, thank you for MSI for actually sending me this out for review. It can be found for a variety of prices, and I'll explain that when I talk about the specs, because it can be bought from anything between £100 and £230. I'm using box.co.uk as a reference for my prices. Link in the description will be below, and you can find this on all other places like Scan or Amazon.co.uk. Box was one of the sites that MSI sent me as a reference for prices. So let's get into the product itself. Now, first of all, what you get in the box? Well, it's very simple. You've got the device itself, the PC. You've got its stand, which is quite nice. I'll show you that in a little while. You've got this power brick, which actually is extremely small. To just give you a size comparison, here's a Galaxy Note 2. Yes, it's that small. So it's a very small power brick, so that's quite cool. The biggest part of it is actually the plug. And then you've got the manuals and CDs, which I actually haven't touched because I haven't needed to do so. Now, the product itself, just to show you the size again, Galaxy Note 2, and here is the product. You can see it's pretty much two Galaxy Note 2s. Obviously it's a little bit thicker, as you would expect, but it's extremely small as a device. And that means it's very much portable. This is very much a portable PC. I can see myself putting this in my laptop bag and just taking it around wherever I want to. Realistically, this can be taken around, but it is normally designed to be actually stationed by your TV. Now I'm going to edit in now a video showing you that and how I would actually use it. Now in terms of setup, you'd be looking at something like this. So you've got your wireless keyboard with a trackpad, for example, which is quite useful. And then you've got the MSI Windbox over here. This would be connected up to your TV, for example, and then you'd be able to control your computer via your sofa whilst you're enjoying your tea with your banoffee pie. So this is a perfect example of how you'd set it up or where it would be actually used for. Now, the actual device itself, I should probably speak about that before getting into any specs and my general thoughts and opinions of it. So first of all, you've got 4 USB 2.0 ports over here. You've got audio jack for your headphones. You've got microphone input over here. You've got 3-in-1 SD card reader over at the top. You've got vents at the top as well. At the back, you've got 2 USB 3.0s, gigabit Ethernet port. You've got audio out and SPDIF out, which is brilliant for optical in terms of connecting up to your TV if you need it. Of course, you've got HDMI, and that of course transfers sound, so you might not need SPDIF, but just in case. And then you've got VGA for those old school people out there, and of course, you know, this can be used for businesses. And you've got the DC input, which is used for that for the power brick. Apart from that, you'll be able to see there's no real mount, which is one of the things that I found a little downfall of the device. There's no VESA mount, so I can see this normally being used, for example, behind a TV, or putting this potentially in a work environment. And unfortunately, due to a lack of any sort of mount in terms of wall mounts, this cannot be wall mounted unless, of course, you mod it. So that is an option, but it's just a shame that MSI didn't think of that. It could be due to its low cost, but either way, I would have liked a VESA mount or somehow to actually mount this to a wall or a TV. Now, talking about mounts, you've actually got the stand itself, and my mum put it quite well by saying, oh, this looks like a Netgear device. So essentially this just goes on, it's usually very simple, there we go, and it stands like this. It looks very, very nice, and it really does look a router. It's so small that my mum actually thought it was a router rather than an actual PC. So this is pretty cool because you can put it anywhere and make it look not like a PC despite it being an actual PC. Now you might be thinking, okay, it's a PC, so how does it perform? So let's get straight into that. Now first of all, I'm going to tell you its specs. It's quite simple. Now the specs this one has is a Intel Celeron CPU 1037U. It's running at 1.8 gigahertz. It has 4 GB of RAM, and it's running on 64-bit Windows 8.1, and that came all pre-installed, and that's pretty much it in terms of the specs. It's got a 500GB hard drive as well, and you're running on the Intel graphics cards. So in terms of specs, it fits a HTPC quite well. However, you will realize that I didn't mention that it's this model. Now the reason I say this model is because this can come in a variety of ways. Now if you want to save yourself a bit of money in terms of buying it £100, you can go for this Winbox but without RAM or HDD and therefore an OS. Which means that you can save yourself some bucks in case you want to install Linux on it or Ubuntu or anything or any other operating system you could think of. Of course, apart from potentially Mac, but that is the case. Of course, the RAM as well, it can be changed out and you can put 8GB of RAM in there running at DDR3 1600 MHz. So that's another option. And the hard drive, as I said, can be changed and you can put an SSD in there if you want to. The option that comes in at £185 with 4GB of RAM has a 120GB Kingston V300 SSD. So that's really cool for increasing those speed times and those loading times in any sort of applications. In my case, I had a 500GB hard drive. And in fact, I'm going to show you that right now. Now, this supposedly breaks the warranty. As you can see, there's a little sticker over here, and that's where the screw goes. It was already open, by the way. I haven't broken the warranty just by the sake of it. But I did talk to MSI, and they said, look, of course, we've put it in there because we're afraid that, in case people come and open their device and they actually break it, and therefore, we're not liable for that. However, for you to change the RAM or the HDD SSD is not against the law, so to speak, and therefore we would honor the warranty despite you voiding that warranty sticker. These are not my words, these are MSI's words. So take it as you will, but all I'm trying to say is that yes, this can be opened, and on top of that, you can change a couple of components. Now, to slide it out is extremely simple. Just open it like so, and you can see the internals of it. You can see there's a RAM. On the right hand side, you've got a CPU heatsink and a little fan, and then you've got the hard drive. Apart from that, you've got the motherboard underneath and all the buttons and the ports that go along with it. It's a very nice compact thing with two interchangeable parts over here. Of course, you can have an external hard drive via USB 3.0, which is what I would suggest, and therefore you can optimize your space via an external hard drive. It's an option that you might want to consider in case you've got the SSD version, therefore you've only got 128GB to play around with, 120GB to play around with, and you want, say, 1TB, get an external hard drive, and Bob's your uncle, you're done. So anyway, in terms of the specs, it does what you would expect as a HTPC. Now you might be thinking, but how does it perform in terms of games? Now, it's a little bit of a touchy subject, the games front, simply because this is not a gaming device by any stretch of the imagination. However, with that said, I ran CSGO, which is something I've been recently playing, and I put it on very low details. Everything was on low, and it was running at 1080p, and it ran at 30 frames per second. Now I was playing bots, and you'll be able to see now a video of me actually playing on CSGO. Now, it was something that I wouldn't consider playing online with, because obviously 30 frames per second on CSGO is probably not the best thing to be running around on competitive game mode. However, I just wanted to demonstrate to you that simple games will be able to run. For example, you might be able to play Minecraft on it without any trouble, but then load up Battlefield, it won't even open because it hasn't got a graphics card. So now you're thinking, okay, now I can play certain games, but doesn't that ramp up the CPU? Well, yes, it does, in terms of the noise. Now I'm going to edit in a video right now, and I want you to try and listen out for the noise. So as you're able to hear, it's actually very, very silent. Now I read a couple of reviews online, I was very surprised for them saying it's actually loud. Potentially they've never come across full-blown graphics card and or never run SLI 680s in their system. What I'm trying to say is this is a very quiet device. Even at full load running CS at 30 frames per second at 1080p, it was very quiet and I didn't really hear it. And of course I'm not going to put it right next to my ears. Of course it's going to be loud then, but you know, you're going to be having it on the other end of the living room right next to your TV. Is it something you're going to hear? Probably not, so I wouldn't worry about that. It's a very quiet machine in my opinion, and even at full load playing a game it was alright. Now, just for the sake of it, I ran a couple of benchmarks and I did find it actually did fail horribly. Now, I ran Uni-Engine Heaven, and you'll be able to see a little pop-up right now of the benchmark score. I have never seen a score so low, and you can even see that the quality was on medium and tessellation was on normal, and it was running on 1080p. So I wasn't that shocked about the actual results, but it did make me laugh a little bit. I didn't bother running Valley or Vantage in terms of showing you that, because if Heaven did that badly, then Valley and 3D Mark would actually do even worse. 3D Mark, I think it actually crashed, but that said, I've had loads of problems with 3D Mark in the past, even on my main gaming PC, and it's just a little bit of a pain to work with, but I thought to try it anyway. So in terms of this raw performance of specs, you know, you're not going to get the mind-blowing specs, something that you could run basic applications. And of course, this is designed as HTPC, made for streaming, opening up Word docs, surfing the internet, and it can do all of that at 1080p. So what else are you asking for? One thing I should mention, and something I did I kind of realized, is that the internet speeds weren't that great. And by that I mean it was actually limited by its inbuilt wireless card. Now the wireless card, you'll be able to see a pop-up right now. I was on my 2.4 gigahertz connection, and therefore it doesn't do 5 gigahertz, the 5 gigahertz band, and it had a speed of 150 megabits per second. Now it isn't bad, but 150 megabits, I would have preferred having it 300, considering most routers nowadays are at 300. It's not a biggie, but it's something that I thought I should mention, simply because it's something important. As you're going to be streaming, or you're going to be sending documents or whatever it is to the MSI Winbox, then you expect some fast speeds or fast connection. Well, unfortunately, you're not really going to get that, and that's another criticism that I have of the Winbox. You'll be able to also see a print screen of a speed test. You can see it's got 24 meg down and 16 up. Now my speeds actually, even on my PC, are 68 megabit per second down and 16 up. So the upload speed hasn't changed, but the download speed is vastly affected by the wireless card. So you're limited to 25 megabits per second in an ideal world without any interference of any sort, but I got 24.28. So it just gives you an idea about what you should expect from the Windbox when it comes to an internet connection and how it handles that. So overall, what do I think of the device? Well, I think it's a great device. I really like it personally, simply because it's really small. On top of that, its price is quite affordable. Coming at starting at around £100 and going up to 220. Even at 220, I see a lot of value in this. People that are going to be buying this are not going to be looking to be gaming. They're not going to be looking to, is it going to run Battlefield? They're going to be looking at, can it run my media files quickly? Can it open up very quickly like a tablet does? And how does it perform overall? And what's the overall experience? I've got to say I was very much happy with it. In fact, so much so that I did a little video of the shutdown times and the boot up time, and I'm going to edit that in right now. And there we go. It took 26 seconds. There we go. It took 22 seconds to get there, which is very fast indeed. So as you're able to see the edited in video, it was very quick to boot up and shut down. Again, testament to the MSI Winbox. They really optimized it quite well and really made it a nice PC to boot up. You know, just simply press the button and do it, and it's booted up in about 40 seconds. I mean, you can't really complain, and that's on a HDD, let alone how it would be on an SSD. You know, I can't even imagine. So very, very impressive performance. So guys, I think it's a great device. However, I can't give it full marks, as in I can't give it a 10 out of 10. In my opinion, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. The reason why is because I think the wireless speeds could have been a bit better. I think the fact that they've MSI have added that warranty sticker, despite being a little bit, you know, you could open it and nothing's going to happen, but if something screws up, then you're liable for it. I would have preferred just an open policy of saying, open it, it doesn't matter, change whatever you want, and MSI being a little bit more open towards that. I would have liked also VESA mounts on here. Apart from that, top marks to MSI. Really do recommend the product, especially if you're looking for something for a streaming device in your living room, and something that you can actually carry around. Literally, it does look like a small notebook. It's actually smaller than an Android tablet, so a 10-inch Android tablet. So it's that small, it's that portable, and you can walk around. You're literally walking around with your PC. That is epic, in my opinion. So anyway guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. This has been the MSI Winbox DC111, and I've been totally dubbed. If you've enjoyed this video, definitely do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. Favorite and share this video if anyone you think would be interested in seeing it, or would like more opinions on it, and honest opinions on it. And on top of that, do let me know in the comments below what you thought about the video, what you think about the device, if you own it or not. That'd be interesting to know, and where you use it, and what you think of the price range it comes in at. Again, I give it an 8 out of 10, which I think is a very good rating, and I think a very honest rating as well. Alright guys, totally dubbed out. Bye bye.